Welcome one and all to the show that's massive in every sense of the word. You want British monster truck action? You want freestyle motocross freaks? You want the crazy creatures performing cunning stunts? And you want the mother of all monster trucks? You got it. Right here on Bigfoot and Friends, it's where the tough get going. Nigel Morris is a man with a mission. He's also got a monster truck or two, as he's the guy behind LA Super Truck. He's a big bloke with a big ambition, because he wants to make monster truck racing as big in Britain as it is in America. And today is the first day of the first ever series of British freestyle monster truck action. And to make it happen, he's joined forces with the big boys from Bigfoot, who are backing him all the way.
I'm Nigel Morris. I'm the president of the Monster Truck Racers Association for Europe, and we'd like to welcome you to the first ever Monster Truck Race Challenge in Europe. We're here at Enfield in North London today for the first ever race, and this is the start line. This is where the monster trucks will come to the start. They'll be staged with a traffic light starting system. The second monster truck will be way over on the other side there, and I'm going to take you for a run through the course. The first obstacle that we have is around a 4-foot dip, and we like to come running down into the dip. The idea is to keep the speed of the truck as low as we can. You have to run up this side, guys. It's got to come right up the top here. We build a 4-foot lip on the top as well. That one's to slow us down. This one's to pick the front wheels up. We'll make it nice and dramatic for the crowd. We should be able to do a wheelie off of there. When we're car crushing in arenas, we don't actually use dirt ramps. We just hit the sides of the cars in one go. Because we've got slightly higher speeds here in a race scenario, we use a dirt ramp, not to help us get over the cars, but just to make sure that the truck flies in a straight line when we're going over them. Same premises as before, dirt ramp, slightly longer ramp this time, basically because we've got a greater distance to go. This time when you land, you're into the 180-degree turn. This is the one where you'll see what we call big air. Basically, the monster truck will probably be doing about 50 or 60 miles an hour by the time it reaches here. The ramp will actually give us a good launch. Dirt ramp, finish line. Same as drag racing. First past the post is the winner.
Nigel's ambitions are as big as Bigfoot, but to catch up with the American scene, there's a long way to go. From stadium to a lovely green field in North London. From a capacity crowd of 80,000 to a couple of hundred hardened Bigfoot fans keen to lend their support. Still, it's only day one, and when Nigel's behind the wheel of Bigfoot, there's some racing to be done. The crowd may be small, but these motors are massive. As the first race lines up, it's Nigel behind the wheel of Bigfoot. And Dave Crossland with his pedal on the metal of Slane, the Warped One. Let battle commence.
Slane's away slowly, but Bigfoot off to a flyer, a real power jump out of the dip there. Bigfoot attacks the first jump, flying the flag for England, and Slane's playing catch-up. Bigfoot clearing those cars as though they're hardly there, and Slane's over jump too. Bigfoot corners first, and fast, tearing up the turf. Slane makes a good corner too, trying to make up the ground. But Bigfoot's extra power really telling in that final straight. Slane finishing now with a flourish, but it's too little, too late. And Bigfoot strolls home to a win. Dave Crossland acknowledges the crowd, gracious in defeat. Great start to the day's racing.
Actions speak louder than words, and after that, I'm speechless. The first race run, and Nigel Morris, the winner.
Nigel, your first competitive monster truck race, how did it feel?
Well, it was just brilliant. I mean, I've been waiting for this for so long, and to actually get it out the way and have it under our belt, so to speak, is just fabulous. The track was wonderful, the weather's great, the whole layout's exactly as I saw it. It's wonderful, I'm just over the moon. Bigfoot's a beauty of a truck. I mean, it was designed by Bob Chandler in America to do this. He's got years and years of experience of building them. It worked absolutely beautifully. I've still got plenty in reserve. I took it quite easy on the first run because I needed to familiarise myself with the course. And I think this afternoon will be really, really good.
We'll be back at Enfield with some monster truck madness in the freestyle section, where anything goes, in just a moment. First, some freaky freestyle motocross, and we're off to meet a bloke from Yorkshire who lives in Canada and promotes motocross in Europe. Complicated? Not really. But Canada certainly gave John Hellam the taste for putting on freestyle motocross events.
Hi, my name is John Hellam from Future West Promotions. Welcome to British Columbia, Canada. Today we're doing a couple of things. We're checking out some new riders that look like they've got potential for the future for the big events. We're also here to see Jeff Banks, who's done some of the big events, and he looks like he's progressing quite good. Some of these riders have a lot of trouble finding somewhere to ride. They're very fortunate with this particular location. It's one of the local greenhouse growers that let them use the spare piece of land they've got to hone the skills on. We use our Canadian events and locations like the one in today as kind of what we call a farm team in North America. It's a bit like a reserve soccer team. They come up through the ranks, they ride the local events, the ones that are good enough like Jeff Farr and Jeff Banks. We take over to our events in the UK or other top level events. So this is kind of a proving ground for these guys.
So what do you go through to make the grade? Dennis Sonia fills us in.
It's a big rush of fear is the easiest way to explain it. When you're doing a new trick that you've never done before, you're coming up to the ramp and you think you know what you got to do, and you just hit that ramp and hope that what you're thinking is the right way. Sometimes tricks will take first try. My first seat grab took me over 6 months to finally extend my legs all the way. When you've mastered a trick, it's the best feeling. It's just like you don't even worry about it anymore. Your body is just so programmed to do it that you don't have to think about doing any of the steps anymore. Just in the past year, I've probably broken 12 ribs, dislocated a collarbone, concussion, sprained ankles, broken fingers. The thing is, when you ride a bike, you're gonna get hurt. You gotta realize that, you know, to do all this stuff good, you are gonna take a fall. And I think Mad Mike Jones best said it. It's like freestyle is about 90% balls and about 10% skill.
More crazy Canadians later, including some mental motocross maniac who'll show us how to do a switchblade. Meanwhile, back in Britain, wonderful Wild Child is centre stage at Enfield for a bit of freestyle monster truck action. Wild Child was full throttle all the way, and promoter Nigel Morris is hopeful that his dream of putting monster truck madness on the map in Britain will come true after this first series of events.
Monster trucks started in America about 28 years ago when a guy called Bob Chandler, who owned a four-wheel drive shop, just kept putting bigger and bigger wheels and tyres on his truck. And eventually he found himself at a military vehicle show and he found some big axles and he thought I could really put some big tyres on with those. And then he found these 66-inch tall Terra tyres. They weigh just over half a tonne each and they cost us £1,800 to buy. So he put those on a street legal 4x4 in America. Now when Bob Chandler was off-roading with his friends, he used to always be heavy on the gas, and his friends gave him the nickname Bigfoot, and that's why the name Bigfoot's on all of his trucks. So what we're doing here today at Enfield is the first ever monster truck racing that's taken part in Europe. It's very big in America, always has been for the last 15 years. Most events they'll have between 10 and 12 trucks similar to Bigfoot turning up. They'll also have an average audience of 60,000 people, which is truly massive. You've got 60,000 people going nuts when one of these guys launches his truck into the air. Now at Enfield over this weekend we're hoping to get 20 to 25,000 people here, but we know the sport's going to grow because nobody in the UK has seen one of these trucks do what they really can do. We know the trucks are safe, we know the drivers are trained, so we can let them do what the trucks are capable of. That's what this action's all about.
Wild Child's back in action in part 2 in a head-to-head race with this beast, Swamp Thing. Now though, we've got a terrific trio of motocross maniacs who are quite simply just gonna do their thing. This is Bigfoot and Friends, and never let it be said that this show isn't educational, as we lift the lid on the techniques of some of the freestyle motocross monster moves. Here's Jeff Banks to tell us why a switchblade is so special.
I'm Jeff Banks. I'm a freestyle rider from Kemba River, British Columbia, Canada, and I'm going to walk everybody through how you do a switchblade. Switchblade is just like a no-footed can-can. When you leave the ramp, you want to jump off your bike and try to swivel your hips backwards and up and crisscross your legs. Sort of like in a kiss of death position, it'll look the best. Like if you jump the back of the bike, you just jump up, kick, switch your legs around, suck back. That's about it. Switchblade could go wrong if you got your foot caught on the one side of the bike when you're coming back, because you're off the one side of the bike. If you could hold it a little bit too long or something like that, then you run the risk of getting caught on the one side of the bike or banging off the tank or whatever. Or if you twist backwards too much, you also run the risk of the bike dragging you away and dragging you right off the back of the bike. But it's actually not that risky of a trick, I don't think.
Ever wondered how they do a no-hander to high chair? We'll tell you in part 2. Plus, with more head-to-head racing at Enfield with Nigel Morris and his monster truck team. We've got a date with a danger-loving lot who get their kicks by doing this, a nostalgic look at why Bigfoot is the most talked-about monster truck in the world, and the big boy in action in a head-to-head with Swamp Thing, when Bigfoot and Friends continues. Welcome back to Bigfoot and Friends. Next up at Enfield, it's Wildchild versus Swamp Thing at the first ever British monster truck racing event. Nigel's not got the big stadium or the big crowd, but check the stats. He's got the big boys from the British monster truck scene waiting for the green light to go.
Swamp Thing's away well, first into the dip, but Wildchild's level. A Swamp Thing there, very slow to climb back out of the dip. Wildchild is the throttle, and into the lead, onto the second jump, but oh, that's a bad landing for Wildchild. Swamp Thing catching up, Wildchild starts to recover on the turn. But Swamp Thing, quick on the turn, takes advantage. Hits the last jump hard. Wildchild's losing ground and losing control. Off into the hay bales as Swamp Thing robs home the winner. Another gripping race there. Wildchild in all kinds of trouble there. And there's a steward rushing over, making sure there's no serious problem that could be a danger. It's so frustrating for the drivers when this happens.
You seem to have a few problems.
Yeah, I lost the power steering belt and she just went into a spin and out of control. In free practice this morning, we had the same problem, so I went and changed the belt because the belt had stretched, and we've thrown this belt as well. So I'm just going to have to try and take it a bit easier, but still try and kick some butt.
Well, Tony, Wildchild spun out of control there, so things pretty easy for you.
Oh yeah, I that one down to a T, I'm afraid, on that one, so that was really good for me. Hit the cars a little bit wrong, but I just nailed it anyway and just kept it going. I wanted to beat him to the end.
Did you notice Wildchild are going to trouble, or were you just concentrating on your own race?
I saw him get into trouble, but I just thought, well, he's out of my way, so I'm just going for it.
Are you confident about the rest of the day?
Oh yeah, better try and get a bit quicker, go in a bit quicker into the first dip, nail it out. That's why I lost it a bit last time, but got the turns nailed there, so went there really quick on the spot. Really happy with that.
Well done, Tony.
Thanks very much.
With Wildchild's power steering problem sorted, Drew's back in the driving seat. This time against Dave Crossland in Slane the Warped One, with his 900 brake horsepower just raring to go.
The green light shows. Wildchild, Slane, they're neck and neck into the ditch. Wildchild picking up the pace now and really starting to fly, taking the early lead over Slane. Oh, and Slane sliding all over the place on that second jump. Wildchild piling on the pressure. Slane goes right on the turn. Wildchild really nails it on the home straight. Wildchild flies home to a win and leaves Slane looking like a Sunday driver.
It's all happening here at Enfield, and another exhilarating race from two mammoth monster trucks. The boys certainly entertained the crowd with that one, and Wildchild's back on the track.
I've had my problems, but I'm confident that's all behind me now and we'll kick some butt.
But there's no change of fortune for Dave Crossland.
My windscreen came loose, so I had to back off gas, so I was going to lose my windscreen, and then I completely messed up the turn and was all over the place, and it was all over by then, so you live and learn. The truck just does not handle like a tubular frame truck. When you land, you feel every inch of the bump, and you lose your vision, you're up in the air, you're all over the place. So you've pretty much got to line it up from the beginning and just hold on for dear life and hope for the best.
We'll be diving into the Bigfoot archives in just a moment to see how the craze of car crushing took off. First, speaking of craze, or rather crazy, take a look at these guys. Sonny Ferguson and Julie Porteous. Sonny Ferguson is one of the best motorcycle stunt riders in the UK and works hard to find new ways to push these machines to the limit.
I first started biking when I was 13 years old. I bought a Honda C90, what I saved up for. It took me about 3 months to save up the money, and I used to go playing down the backfield with my mates on it. My bike is a Honda Fireblade 900. It's geared down so that it wheelies a little bit easier. It's got a rail on the back, which just helps for other various tricks. If that wasn't on the back, you wouldn't be able to put your foot in it because most bikes are all encased in at the back. So that does help with things like no-handed wheelies, wheelie circles, etc. I have a hand-operated back brake on the handlebars, which allows me to take the bike past the vertical point with your legs over the handlebars, because once it lands on the rail, it's got to come back down again. And without the hand-operated back brake, it's not going to come down. My favourite stunt to perform now is putting my legs over the handlebars, hitting the rail and wheel spinning the bike. And also, we've just started doing 2-up no-handed wheelies. The most difficult trick to do will be the high chair trick, because it's a weird feeling actually going past the vertical point with your legs over the handlebars. To perfect this stunt, it does depend on how hard the stunt is. You can't practice a 180 stoppie if you can't do a normal stoppie. So they all fall in order. So it's a little bit hard to say how long it would take to learn a trick, but they'll all probably take a couple of months. Pulling big long stoppies, it is a really nice feeling. I think it's really great because the bike just floats along. Because you can't really hear the engine. All you can hear is the wind and the front brakes. Every time you're on the bike, you are putting yourself in crash situations, so you have to be a little bit mad to do it. Putting Julie on the bike does make the bike feel totally different because the weight's different, the balance points are different. She can't make any wrong moves because she could make us fall off just as easy as I could. She wanted to be on a lot earlier than what I would let her on the bike. I basically said I want a good year on the bike, so my skills are quite high, but she managed to get on after about 6 months of me riding. The most important thing is find somewhere safe to practice, because if you will crash, and you don't really want to be practicing where there's lampposts, curbs. It's hard to get somewhere to practice, but try. Find somewhere safe, I would say, is the best advice.
More motorcycle maniacs in a moment, as we have a date with the Vertical Brits. And with our final monster truck race of the day from Enfield. But first it's time to delve into the Bigfoot archives. And for those of us who've ever wondered why those monster mothers just love to crush cars to a pulp, here's how it all began. When Bigfoot creator Bob Chandler first felt the urge to crush cars in his oversized pickup truck, he did so with ease after his collaborator Jim Kramer had set up a few scrappers in a farmer's field, which became the first victims of a Bigfoot car crush. Ever the showman, Bob found a soon-to-be familiar parking spot for his beloved beast, and that showmanship would take Bigfoot beyond the realms of backyard party piece. Car crushing had begun and was to catapult Bigfoot from a farmer's field to worldwide fame. Bob was hooked, and before long, so was everybody else. Bigfoot's first public car crush drew 68,000 screaming fans to the Pontiac Silverdome, where the 3 security police were powerless to stop the crowd surrounding the truck. It wasn't long before new twists were put into the now familiar car crush. When a Ford exec decided he wanted to crush some trucks, Bob happily obliged, and the very next day saw Bigfoot's first pickup truck crush. Superstardom beckoned for Bigfoot. This appearance for the Hollywood movie Roadhouse. The glass was supposed to be broken by a charge, but Bigfoot managed without, despite producers piling on the pressure, telling Bob if he didn't make it through the building, they'd just messed up a $500,000 scene. More from the Bigfoot archive next time. Right now though, it's time for the best of British, as driver Drew Thornton tells us how it feels to rev up behind the wheel of the Wild Child.
People ask what sort of buzz you get out of racing. You get such an adrenaline rush. I get slightly nervous, butterflies in my stomach, but then as soon as the lights go green, nail the throttle and just go for it. Try to hit the cars nice and square. As we land, hope that all the wheels are intact and just nail the throttle again and off we go, ready for the next jump. Nice 180-degree bend that we've got here. Try and power slide it around and then just nail the throttle again, and it's just, you've got to try it to believe it. This is the heart of the beast for Wild Child. It's an 8.2 litre American V8. It's a Cadillac model, so it's built for comfort. It's roughly 750 horsepower, which equates to 7 average family cars. If you just like to come around here, you can actually see we've got all the hydraulics to work for the steering. So we've got 2 pumps all driven off the engine to give front and rear steer. And the beauty with the monster truck, your average family car has only got a couple of inches of suspension travel. And on Wild Child, we have 30 inches, which gives us the nice cushion landing that we have, and that's why it's a very comfy ride anyway.
We're back in Enfield for the final monster truck race of the day in a moment. First though, it's time for some more cunning stunts.
Hi there, I'm Ash from Vertical Brits Extreme Stunt Team. Today I'm going to explain in a little bit of detail how to attempt and hopefully achieve the no-hander to high chair. The way that I would recommend anyone approach this is at very low speed. Increased idle speed obviously is going to increase the impact if it all goes wrong, so keep the idle speed low. I would get used to standing up on your pegs from seated to fully stood up position, and that's the position that you're going to use to launch yourself from your seat to over the screen. I'll do it in 2 stages. I would get used to being in a high chair position first, and then get used to coming from seated to onto the tank. Find somewhere soft like grass for the first few attempts, and good luck.
Thanks to Ash, who we filmed recently at Elvington near York. We'll have more action from there next time round. Finally, for this edition of the show, we're off to the last race of the day in Enfield, and onto the dirt, ready for battle. It's Tony Dixon's Swamp Thing versus Nigel Morris's Bigfoot 17. Lights, camera, monster action.
On the starting line, Swamp Thing reacts first, in and out of the dip, but Nigel puts his foot down in Bigfoot and takes the first jump first. Oh, and Swamp Thing nearly chips a tooth there without landing, level pegging as they hit the second jump and go into the turn. Great turn from Bigfoot. He's left Swamp Thing standing. Bigfoot surges home with an awesome display of power. Swamp Thing looks like he's dancing on hot coals as he desperately tries to catch up. There's no giving up here. Bigfoot the winner.
After round 1 of racing, it's Bigfoot striding ahead. Join us next time as we rev up for round 2 and more motor madness on Bigfoot and Friends.
More thrills and mostly spills from the spectator's point of view of rally driving next, with another Out of Control 2 next on Men and Motors.